There is no money around, and this was the case before the hard times really started to kick in. To maintain a solid defence around the whole of the UK, as you can imagine, is an extremely expensive process. Yeah. In Selsey alone, it's deemed to be upwards of £100 million over the next 100 years. That kind of money doesn't just appear. But everyone is looking at different ways of managing funding. As a town council and with the local groups, we've been looking at lots of different ways to maintain funding. There are different levers that can be pulled. So for instance, the town council now has a budget that it can offer up to the district council as leverage for much larger sums of funding. We've also looked at the idea of a community trust that raises money in the town and then invests that in partnership with the Coastal Operating Authority. So there's lots of different projects moving forward, and every so often there are chunks of funding which come forward which allow us to carry out interim works on short stretches of land. The big thing at the moment really is about maintenance. If we can look after what's there, we've got a much better chance of withstanding increasing sea levels and those kind of things. Not really, actually. There does seem to be a kind of an ongoing feel from a lot of people that they'll never possibly let Selsey go. But we're already seeing, we work with other coastal communities around the country, and we're already seeing in places like Haysborough that they are actually now moving back from the sea and allowing houses to go in. Okay, it's a very small community there. We're talking about 4,500 houses in Selsey. So yes, they're not going to just cut the road overnight and say that's it. Absolutely, but people do seem to think that the money will just be found and the defences will just keep being topped up. But that's not necessarily realistic. Surprisingly, the people on the coastline, it kind of goes in concentric circles. The people in the centre of the town almost seem more worried about the issue than the people on the coastline itself. It's quite an interesting scenario down here. But yes, there could be more awareness. I think a lot of people are concerned about raising the awareness for fear of what's classed as blight, so making people think that there's no hope, and because there is, we've got good defences, there is some money coming forward. We don't want people to think that this is it. What we're looking at is the period from kind of 25 years from now forward, that's when potentially the biggest issues are going to start to appear. So the Town Council in 2011 undertook a project to look at what role that they could play within their limited powers, and the one thing that did seem to come forward was funding. So what we looked at was our current budget. We looked at where money could be ring-fenced out of that and what that money could be used for, and in partnership with the District Council we've now got a scenario whereby we are taking money out of the precept each year, and that money can then be used to leverage in bigger chunks of funding. The more the local community puts up, the more you can get from national pots. So therefore, as a way of kind of kicking off that process, we're actually now ring-fencing money each year to help leverage in external funding. The District Council have just had agreed a beach management plan for the area as well, which is really about maintenance. So it's a much lower budget, but it's about maintaining what's there rather than necessarily trying to go for wholesale improvement. And that's actually really the best that we can do at this moment in time.